So Nintendo just showed off their new console, the long-awaited Nintendo Switch 2, and here were my initial thoughts on the console when the trailer first dropped. Oh, this isn't a dig at the console, I was just actually asleep when the trailer dropped. I gotta say, the Nintendo Switch 2 looks stellar. My friend was adamant it was gonna be called the Nintendo Switch Up. He was pretty pissed when it wasn't called that. But the console looks nice. I wouldn't say it's that revolutionary of a redesign, but hey, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, sometimes you just need more powerful hardware. And we got a great look at that hardware for the system. So I'm sure what everyone is excited about right now is what the software of the system is going to look like and what games will show up in the first year's lineup. So that's what I want to talk about in today's short video. Talk about what I expect from the software of the system and some games I could see showing up in the first year. Well, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's kick things off with... One thing they really need to update is how the eShop works. Every time I try to check out the eShop to find some indie or smaller games to play, all I end up doing is spending 2 hours scrolling down one lane of games. The eShop is such a slog on the Nintendo Switch. It's hard to maneuver around, it's slow, laggy, and overall it doesn't even have that much pizzazz to it like other Nintendo eShops. But with the Switch 2 apparently having specs of a PS4 to PS4 Pro, I'm hoping this means the eShop can be more well integrated with the console, meaning faster load times and less lag. And why the hell not? Add eShop music back, please. It would at least make buying their inevitable ports a more fun experience. Nintendo is supposed to be the fun company. Give us something fun for the eShop. And I hope the Switch 2's eShop has better filters for what gets added to the eShop. There's so much shovelware on the Switch eShop, I'm like 99% sure that's what's lagging the eShop so much. At the very least, have a tab with Nintendo's own published games, just so I don't have to look at garbage like Decoration Rush for the 16th time. Everyone has been begging for this one ever since the Switch 1, but it bears repeating. Add more themes to the Switch! I don't care if they're like $2 a pop for the more fancy ones like the 3DS, but come on Nintendo, I can't go another generation with basic white and basic black themes again, I just can't. Some other things I can see them doing is having a more customizable clipping system for their recording, similar to how PlayStation does it, where it's always monitoring your gameplay and you can decide how far back you want to clip something from 30 seconds to like 10 minutes. I hope they make something more flexible like that because 30 seconds is just not enough. Now that I talked about all of that other stuff, now I could talk about what games could be coming for the first year of the Nintendo Switch 2. Signs are pointing to this either being a June/July release, and to my surprise, we already have an idea of 3 games that are coming to the Switch 2 later this year. First one I want to discuss is the one that everyone's talking about, the new Mario Kart game we got a look at during the Switch 2 hardware showcase. Side note, I just want to comment on how great the game looks. I know we only got a brief look, but from what we've seen, it looks like a more stylized take on the franchise. The environments still look jaw-dropping like an 8, but the characters look a lot more stylized, like the 2D art used for promotional stuff. It's noticeable on some characters like Mario and Bowser, but especially on characters like Donkey Kong. But looks aside, I'm confident this new Mario Kart game will be a launch title for the console. I mean, it makes sense. This being one of the first games they show off, and I think Nintendo has realized from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's sales that the Mario Kart franchise can hold itself as a launch title. Mario Kart has always been a good staple for Nintendo, but sales always varied and it wasn't needed from the start. But 8 Deluxe blew all the other games out of the water, so I honestly see this as a definite launch title for the Switch 2. Another game we know about that could be a launch title is Metroid Prime 4. This game has been through hell and back, man. I remember joking around with a friend that this was going to be a launch title for the Switch 2 for how long it was taking to make. Never thought it was actually going to happen though. This has been in development hell for 8 years now. It restarted development in 2019, and 5 years after that, we finally got confirmation that it will come out this year. And I think they'll do a Twilight Princess / Breath of the Wild situation and release it on both Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. It's only fair to the people who were promised this game on the Switch 1, and it also lines up perfectly with the Switch 2 launch. So far, I am to believe we have 2 Switch launch titles right here. Maybe throw in a Snipper Clips 2, Nintendo Land 2, or Nintendogs plus Wraths. But I believe there will be another smaller release from Nintendo like that. I don't want it to be as barren as the Switch 1 release, but I don't want them to overload with too many day 1 games. Just a few solid games at the beginning. Maybe a few third-party games also in there, but overall I'm hoping for as modest of a launch as possible. with two powerhouses of games assumed to be launch titles. So as modest as you can get. So that's what I think the launch will look like for the Switch 2. But we still have one game that has been announced to discuss, and that is Pokemon ZA. This is confirmed to release this year, and we know very little about this game, but this is for sure going to be within the first year of the console. I'm not too well versed with Pokemon, to be honest, but I think this will be a good addition to the Switch 2 lineup. Pokemon is one of their best-selling games. Despite the quality of some of them, they are still a lucrative IP, and they will definitely thrive being in that year 1 lineup. And after that, yeah, I'm gonna have to start using my brain for these titles because I've already run out of games that have been previously announced. Well, let's get an easy one out of the way, why not? Super Mario Odyssey 2 is definitely the most talked about game they could add to the Switch 2's library, and I think this will be in the first year of the system. Just the tail end of it, maybe like May/June of 2026. If not that, definitely will be in some part of 2026. I think Nintendo knows they need a new 3D Mario on their console, so I don't think they'll wait too long to put it on Switch 2, but I think they want the new Mario Kart to have its time to shine on its own without having a new 3D Mario looming over it. I believe it will show up in the first year of the system, but barely. And I don't think we'll see a new Zelda game, 3D or 2D. Most likely scenario is a port or a remake. We could finally get those Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports from the Wii U, or they could do a smaller scaled remake of the first game. So yeah, all I think Zelda has in this first year are either ports or remakes. I could honestly see Kirby getting a new game, most likely another traditional 2D game, or they could do a sequel to Forgotten Land. Not too confident on this one happening, honestly. If not in year 1, I can see them doing it in year 2. I think I covered a lot of Nintendo's bigger franchises. I know I left out some like Splatoon or Pikmin, but I feel like those franchises just got new games, so I think we'd see them like a little over 2 years into the Switch 2's lineup. But I want to talk about some smaller franchises that could get some love. I think two that people have their eyes on is either a new F-Zero game or a new Kid Icarus / a remake of Uprising. A new F-Zero game would be awesome, but I think a new Kid Icarus / Uprising remake makes more sense in terms of variety. If we already have Mario Kart from the start, why do we also need an F-Zero at the start too? My bet is on a new Kid Icarus game. We could also get a more casual game like a Rhythm Heaven or Tomodachi Life 2. And I'll put it out there right now. If they make a Tomodachi Life 2 in the first year of the console's life, I will not shut the fuck up about it. I've been wanting a Tomodachi Life port to the Switch for so long. I'm willing to make a deal with the devil if it means getting this game on Switch 2. Yeah, if it isn't obvious, Tomodachi Life 2 is my pick between these two. I love Rhythm Heaven, but I love Tomodachi Life. And I think we should end it off with one last game. We've already got a hypothetical of 8 games so far. I would suggest a casual Mario spin-off, but Mario Kart already takes that slot. I would suggest a new Xenoblade game, but they're releasing a port of X to the Switch 1. I think what we need is a fighting game. Not a Smash Brothers, but rather a boxing game. So either we get a new Punch-Out game or ARMS 2. I can see an argument for both. ARMS was also a game released in the Switch's first year on the market, but who knows what Nintendo's doing with that franchise or even if they're gonna continue it. Punch-Out has never been a consistent franchise, but I'm gonna be honest, I just think it has so many ideas for new boxers, game modes, mechanics, etc. I would love for that franchise to come back as well. I honestly can't decide between these two. I will leave this up for discussion. I would love for either of these to come back. Anyway, that's what I think the Switch 2's lineup could look like for its first year. Whether any of these games come true or not, I just love the discussion that it brings with people in the community and seeing what other people's hopes and predictions are. So if you have any fun ideas and wants, go ahead and share them in the comments. Just be nice and civil with each other. And hey, it doesn't matter if you think Mario Golf or Mario Tennis should make a return, because Mario Sluggers is better than both. Good night, everybody!